Hello and welcome to round 6 of the virtual Le Mans Cup here by SimRacing.Club, and we are here for 2 hours at the Virginia International Raceway. The drivers have just finished the warm-up and we are heading onto the grid, and I'm your commentator today, Cameron Roger, and we have two other fellow commentators here today. We've got Aidan Millward and Lorenzo Bonda, sorry.
Good start. It's nice to be here. I'm usually commentating on the VEC, but it's nice to be here at Virginia for what should be a good race around a track that nobody really knows. Got lots of runoff. I say a lot of runoff. It's a lot of grass, so everyone's going to have to be very, very careful going through the run from, well, I guess turn 1 all the way up to the famous oak tree. As the 5 lights have just come on and everybody pulls away on the pit limiter. So rolling start has begun.
And as always, the drivers will do their formation lap on the pit limiter, 80 kilometers an hour, and they will form their way up. So they've already done the qualifying session, so we can just run you through the grid and various drivers you should be looking out for here in today's race. So starting with the LMP3 category, we've got Michaela Ricky on pole position for the Wave Frame Esports Norma LMP3. They are currently sitting 4th position in the championship, 34 points off the lead. And there's 40 points in Le Mans for the win and 30 points here today. So still 70 points up for grabs, but they are quite a way behind. But a win today could be good for them. Then we're followed by your championship leader, Luca Burke, in the number 5 Speedy Mite Racing team, currently leading the way by 5 points from the number 33 team, Rookie Monsters, who is a little bit further down. And then in 3rd place, we got Cameron Sansano in another Speedy Mite racing car, quite a few of them here. And then we got Lazaros Philippakos, Alexander Jones, David Junt, Lorenzo De Chutis in 7th place, who had that big crash on turn 1, causing the first Code 80 back in Sebring. Then we got Luca D'Amelio, your 2nd place in the championship driver, number 33. Then we got Jelle Binsbergen and Antonello Biocchi in 10th place for the LMP3s.
Yeah, and now moving towards the GT3 category, which is the slower of the two categories. Lorenzo Risi has taken pole position in that class. Very good lap from him in the Waveframe Esports car. He is then followed by Daniele Brambilla in one of the Aston Martins, and then Mantis Rekus is behind him in the Team Rookie Monsters car, that very striking purple and sky blue car there. Then backwards still, we've got Rick Van Arla. I hope I've got the pronunciation right there. My pronunciation of foreign words isn't particularly good, but he's driving there for Grand Effect Sim Racing. I think that's I get my McLarens mixed up. Anyway, Andy Dixie, another Speedy Mite car in behind him, and then it's the first of the Zancho Aston Martins. James Johnson leading the Canadian or French Canadian Olivier Fortin. Eric Strana is behind those two, and he has sort of split the Zanchos. They were almost 3 line astern, but he's broken up Fortin and Daniel D. Finney, who is racing from his bedroom in Brisbane, as he always does. Then behind that is Nick De Silva, another Speedy Mite car. There is quite a lot of them in this race. So they're trying to sort of overwhelm with numbers. But Rifki Afayat, did I get that right? Okay, he's
close enough.
Yeah,
close.
He's in 11th place. Then 12th in class is Paolo Tagliolini. I'm not very good at this. Marco Mazzetti in the Porsche. He's in 13th in class. Then Daniele Tulli. Then I apologize for this. Benjamin Jelczynski. Yeah?
Close.
No? Close? Okay. And then Kamal Katoglu. See, I'm embarrassing myself here. So August Onsell, he's in another Aston Martin. He's in 17th place. David Nichols, P18 in, I think it's a satellite car. Then AJ Snyder, another satellite car in P19 in class. And then bringing at the rear end of the field is Ryan Walker in the 3rd satellite GT3 Aston Martin.
And perfectly timed for Michaela Ricky to get to the start-finish line, where he will be releasing their pit limiter, and they are racing here at Virginia International Raceway. 2 hours. These drivers will have to circumnavigate this circuit, and it seems like they are all getting away quite nicely. There's one of the good features of this race start, although someone's had a bit of a bad start at the back there. I think it's Bill Worrell down in 17th place now. Has got overtaken by McGear and Backer, but we are going now with the GT3s as well.
Yeah, Lorenzo Risi taking first place all the way into turn 1. Quite a heavy braking zone. I managed to do a few laps of this track in the week. And actually, Brambilla and Risi, they absolutely bolted from third place. So they must have some really good reactions with their thumbs on their wheels to deactivate the speed limiter. But in turn, those two have got a bit of a grab to Mantas Rekus in the Aston Martin, and he's got a little bit of a cushion to those behind him. So I'm just going to keep flicking further back. Everybody seems to be behaving themselves through this very, very tight first sector. A place where you can lose a lot of time, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens when the LMP3s come around to lap. As I'm watching Paolo Taglioni going through the S's, which are annoyingly called like turn 2A, turn B, turn F, turn whatever. But yeah, everybody's still behaving. Seems to be no issues for this first lap.
And one thing that you mentioned on the formation lap was where James Johnson was, often known as Jimmy Johnson, down in 25th place and 6th place in class. He gave a really good fight last time out in the GT3 category. Couldn't quite get past Lorenzo Arisi, but he actually took pole position there. Not quite as high up there today, but there's still plenty of time for him to sort it out. But he's got his teammate Olivier Fortin giving him some backup support as well. But he needs to try and move through the likes of Andy Dixie and Rick Van Earl as well in those two McLaren 720Ss. But yeah, he's dropped off a little bit, such is the nature of the starting procedure. Keeps some nice gaps, keeps everyone safe. But he did make up the positions last time as well, after we had various code 80s and things like that.
We've also got to take into account here that there's going to be a lot of penalties awarded. What was that? Was that JJ going a bit too... Oh, it was Olivier going a bit too deep into turn 1, but just managed to catch that, but he's still managing to keep Eric Strana right behind him. That's going to say that there's a lot of penalties going to be awarded in the first few laps of this race because of infractions that happen at Sebring. So that's going to really shake up the order over the first couple of minutes.
Yeah, and basically will throw a lot of the drivers actually off on their pace. You know, they're gonna have to readjust some things throughout the race in terms of strategy. It is basically a sprint race. 2 hours is a sprint endurance-like race, so they have to get their points straight from start to finish and make sure they do not accrue any more penalties because that can get more complicated down the line.
GT3s on the back straight. I'm currently watching Olivier Fortin, who is 26 overall, 7th in class. I think he's going to try and get away from Eric Strana. Maybe try and bring Daniel Finney into play here. Try and stop the Aston Martin of Eric Strana getting away. But in turn, that's helping JJ to pull off into the distance. So maybe a bit of rear gunning happening in the Zancho camp today.
Yeah, Sancho got 3 entries in the GT3. They also have 3 entries in the VEC Division 1 with the BMW there as well. So they'll see a GT specialist team, and they're very good with that. And they will be working together, as you say, to try and help themselves get higher up.
Really deep into turn 1. Yeah, sorry about that, Cam. He's probably tried to have a go at Arisi, and he's just overcooked it slightly. So he's still in second, but managed to keep it on the track, and that's the most important thing here, because if you try doing a bit of rallycross, you're going to pick up all manner of trouble.
Yeah, Brambilla did a very good race. Well, really the last couple. We had code 80s around the time where you can sort of think about pit stop in the last 2 races, and Interlagos and Sebring last time out as well, and he was the one to take the initiative with that. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work out on both occasions, but he's certainly up for putting it towards the guys at the front, trying to make them do something different. And code 80s might be something that are a factor here when the traffic gets around and people start overtaking each other.
The main thing about this track, though, is that so much runoff. You're going to be travelling for a long time before you hit anything anyway, so I don't think that they're going to be that bad unless a car gets pitched into the inside wall rather than the outside.
No, it is a very complicated track. You can see a lot of green in the runoff areas, but trust me, if you clip the grass, there isn't enough time for you to actually efficiently brake the car. So there is a huge
Oh,
chance you
that's a
might
brave
be
move.
going to the wall.
Sorry about that, as Benjamin Jilsinki managed to just put a move on Kamal Katoglu. Apologies again for the noise. At a braking zone that you wouldn't have really expected, he managed to get it into sort of that heavy braking zone at the end of the back straight, sort of around the outside of the right-hander and then down the inside for the second part. So a great move there. He's now up to 16th in class.
Had some nice battling with LMP3s as we came around sector 1 of this lap as well. They are getting quite close to each other. That was Luca Di Melio and Philippakos, although Philippakos has actually dropped off the back a little bit as the sector 2 is unfolding as they now
David
come
Nichols
down the
has gone
back
off.
straight.
Sorry about that. David Nichols has had a bit of an accident. His Audi into the grass. I can't really catch how he actually managed to do that, but he's dropped way back. I mean,
All broke himself.
the 3 satellite cars way down with everybody else. So I don't know what's going on with them, because they're usually a team that you'd expect to be quite far up the grid.
And Rob Timpen as well in the Seawolf car. P3 went off at turn 11-12, the Oak Tree corner onto the back straight. He's down to 17th place. Unfortunately, they are far enough away from the GT3s. He didn't get involved with them, but he's still down in 17th place at the moment.
Jilsinki's now had to have a look at Taglioni going down the back straight past the sort of clubhouse, I guess. Is he going to try and do what he did last time? Yes, he is. He's going to have a go at the inside of the Porsche going towards the heavy braking zone. The Porsche just gave the position to him, I think. So the net race went sport car now up another position by the end of this lap 5.
Di Melio had some contact with Tutis coming through turn number 3 and 4. So he's really pulled away from Philippakos as well. I said they were battling into turn 1 a couple of laps ago. But he's really pulled away now, and Tutis is his next target. But when he tried to do an overtake on this lap, there was a bit of contact, a bit of rubbing, and Luca managed to keep it on the track nicely. He won the Sebring race a few weeks ago fairly comfortably, it has to be said. Went off into the distance after getting a pit stop with a code 80. But 7th place today is where he is at the moment, and he can't quite get past Tutis at the moment.
It's a track that, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna say
right.
that Virginia is a hard track for you to overtake. There are barely any areas for you to make overtakes. You might be thinking that the Oak Tree might be a place for you to make a move. It isn't quite. Basically, turn 1 and then the back straight are the points where the Melio goes once again on the inside into turn number 1.
Dan Finney's got Nick De Silva all over the back of him, so he's managing to keep that McLaren nice and what's the word? I've had a mind blank. He's managed to keep him
Contact with Di Melio and Tutis again, the same corner, the exact same way. They had some contact into Di Melio. I think he might have tapped the wall, couldn't quite see from the camera angle.
Contact.
But he's back on in 11th place.
Yeah, Nick De Silva and Dan Finney tacked into that little chicane at the end of the back straight, but Nick De Silva, I think he's admitted fault with that one. He's allowed Finney to take the place back, so the 67 Sancho car still keeps his position as he finishes lap number 6.
I wonder if... Or Arisi and Brambilla. Brambilla's managed to get him for the lead in the GT3s into turn 1. So Brambilla has now hit the front, and the away frame car has dropped down to 2nd place. Got the Aston Martin train at the front here. It's good to see 3 different teams, but yeah, Brambilla has got to the front this time, not through pit stops, but through actual pace. As,
we got Miyake's off.
A few cars going off here. Yeah, he's got no rear wing, and he's got no rear left wheel either, so that is going to be him out of the race, I would assume, because not even a code 80 will save his day there. Yeah, he's dropping all the way down. Hasn't pressed escape yet, but I would assume that is going to be a pretty simple DNF for him.
Well, we saw something similar to that happen at Sebring. Can't remember who it was. I think it might have been one of the Juice's cars. Lost a wheel as Dan Finney engages Eurobeat through the oak tree corner, still keeping Nick De Silva right behind him.
Eric Strana, 24th place overall, is trying to get past one of the Zancho cars, the 62, I think that is. This is James Johnson.
JJ, yeah.
And I think actually, so this must be Johnson actually trying to overtake him the other way around, I believe, unless they swapped positions earlier. But Strana is now leading this battle.
No! Oh, Finney! Oh, sorry. Dan Finney, sort of, I think he might have panicked seeing Nick De Silva trying to make a move. He's cut the grass ever so slightly, but he managed to avoid skidding back into the path of the McLaren and taking himself out. But now he's got a Fiat right behind him as they come down the start-finish straight. Maybe Finney might lose another position here, but I don't think he will. Actually, the toe here is pretty good. What's a Fiat going to do? Is a hard... Oh, he had a little lunge, but no, he's backed out of it. Finney is still in 9th. And still plodding on.
Yeah, the McLaren, I believe, is one of the best top speeds out of all of the GT3 pack cars, but obviously not quite enough on that occasion. And looking at the back at the front, we've got these 3 cars, including Mantis and Rekase in the 3rd position, all pulling away a bit from Rick Van Earl. So these top 3 podium position places at the moment in the GT3 category are starting to pull away. And the LMP3s are starting to get towards the back.
A little bit.
They're going to be side by side now as we all the way down this back straight. It's 1.3 kilometers all the way down here. A lot of tow, and Bramby has actually managed to get that. So I wonder if there's a maybe different wing angle going on here. Although it seems like Arisi is going to think about it, try and put him offline as they get to the end, but not quite enough to make a move there.
And going outside for Arisi is not the place that you really want to make a move. You can, if you're side to side, however, you can actually stick it in, go side to side into the mini corkscrew, the right and then left hand kinks. But you need to be very confident on your skills and rely on the other guys as well, so you guys don't crash and be sent to the inner and outside walls. Oh, not outside walls, but you're going to be sent to the ground nevertheless.
Or who's that? Velton's P9 at the moment. He's gone off at turns on the outside of turn 10, and he's got no rear wing. So I wonder if this is going to be some sort of a code 80.
Showing a rear wing on my screen. Oh no, there it goes.
Yeah. So this is that the Scuderia Leone car? Is that, I believe? But he's got no rear wing, so he's going to have to be really careful because he's going to have massive top speed and he's going to hit the brakes and all downforce on the front. He might have a crash here into turn 13 if he is not too careful.
Especially if he doesn't know he's lost it. Oh, it's a bit of a wobble. Go on, pull up. Oh,
he's actually doing all right.
Yeah, he's doing all right. He might as well keep it up. Oh,
yeah,
no, maybe not. Oh, he's gone. He's gone.
Yeah, too much aero balance on the front, unfortunately, and hopefully he doesn't rejoin as we've got some LMP3s coming past now, but he's going to get back to that pit lane fairly safely, and he's going to be quite a way down, though. Well, McGear's off at the final corner as well.
I was going to mention that.
Yeah, 14th place in the LMP3. Doesn't look like he got any damage from that.
No, and about Velton's year is a weird thing because he went to the outside of the track on the left hand king before the oak tree. He lost the wing while in the grass, which is a very unusual place for you to lose a wing.
I think it's because of the elevation changes through that corner. You really drop down a massive dip. But yeah, possibly could have been a bit unfortunate to lose his rear wing as well. But hopefully he can get back out. We got a car off at turn number 1. Who's that? I think that is Nick Newcomb off in turn number 1.
Yeah,
I think he's actually got back going, and then we got the LMP3s actually start to come through some traffic. Got Lorenzo De Chutis now on the back of Sansano for 5th and 6th position. They just got past a couple of GT3s on this previous lap, and this is really where the speed differences and the judgment is going to come into play, because the traffic is really where you gain and lose the most time. Oh, P11. The Caspian LMP3 is around.
Back onto the track though, isn't he? So it's crisis averted.
Yeah, I think that involved a GT3 as well. Although he's gone off
again.
again. He's gone off. He's probably overheated those rear
Those, yeah.
tyres. P13 overall.
And that first off that he
First
actually
pitting,
had
yeah.
on the track was actually with contact with Lazaros Filipakos on the small corkscrew.
Mackley has brought the car into the pit lane. He probably violently flat spotted his tyres or took some sort of damage, so he's going to drop quite far back. So at least Newcomb will get 16th position back, but all drive-through penalty is signed by the live steward to Nick Newcomb. So is that for something that happened at Sebring, maybe?
It potentially
Luca
is.
Burke's got one as well. Yeah, Michael Ricci's got one as well.
Yeah, there's.
So, it's
I
all
believe there's like 24 penalties.
Really?
in total, what?
Only a couple.
Yeah, race director Sean Jacobs was saying. So I believe there's going to be quite a few coming through now. So here we've got DeChutis, David Junt, Luca D'Amelio, Luca Burke, Michaela Ricky. Loads of these LMP3s are getting drive-through penalties. Mackley as well. The Caspian that we just saw go off. And Luca Burke is in to serve his penalty. So I believe he's one of the first people from the top lot to come in. He's taking it straight away.
Might as well, if you're there.
The Tutis as well, yeah, all coming in. And this is been quite nice for them because last time we had a early code 80 and you cannot serve penalty under code 80. So a couple of drivers got caught out by that, but it seems like they're all good today. And Luca Burke rejoins in 7th position. Lorenzo Tutis is just going to get overtaken by Filipakos for 9th position as well. So Burke is now 15 seconds off the lead.
And LMP3 traffic has already reached some of the back markers in the GT3 on the very, very back of the field. So now this is the place in the race where you guys mentioned is going to get really interesting, because now here's the thing: if an LMP3 sticks behind what would be the first half of the race right before the oak tree, basically if you cannot get into the first part of the S's, that twisty section, you're basically gonna be
Stuck.
stuck behind until you get to the oak tree and then be done with it. Oh,
is that Nick Silver that's just gone off?
yeah.
Oof, that was close.
No, that wasn't Nick Silva, but that was
Dixie.
Speedy Mine.
Yeah, it's Dixie, Andy Dixie, one of the many speedy mites as we've mentioned. So quite a few.
I had a chance, didn't I?
Yeah, quite a few drivers going off here as we're about 15-20 minutes into this race now. Maybe they've lost that initial adrenaline rush of the start, and they just need to get down into their rhythm and into their state of mind to try and get as far as they can into this first stint, because obviously the further they go in the first stint means they have to take a shorter pit stop, and they'll just gain time from that in the second half of the race.
Well, Michele Ricci's just taken his drive-through, and he's come out in 4th, but he's immediately pounced on Cameron Sansano as Sansano locked up into turn 1. Oh, that's very close as they're now battling for 3rd. Can he keep it on the track? Yes, he can. There we go. He's managed to get back in front. He's just like, hey, I'm having that. Don't take that from me.
Yeah, that's where D'Amelio went off with his contact with DeChutis, but Ricky managed to keep on. And even though he had a drive-through penalty, he is now right on the back of this lead pack. So he's didn't actually lose too much time from that. And he's now going to go side by side through turn 8 and now through turn 9. I'm sure that GT3 was not too happy about that. And,
Sanzano, nice save.
Oh, yeah. God, these LMP3s are really close to the front here. Now, Luca Burke's coming and he's hit D'Amelio. He came out of nowhere there, dived it down to inside of turn 11, but didn't quite make that work. And Luca D'Amelio might actually have some contact. And I believe D'Amelio actually still needs to make a drive-through penalty as well. So, yeah, he's going to be dropping off this little group a bit. But, yeah, Luca Burke far too optimistic through that corner.
At least here the pit lane's relatively short, so you're not losing that much time by taking a drive-through. But if you've got drivers around you, then obviously you are going to... someone's gone off with no wing.
Yeah. Another car with no rear wing, unfortunately.
It's P15 in class.
Yeah, D'Amelio is now in for his drive-through penalty.
It's Mazzetti who's missing his rear wing. So that's going to be a lengthy pit stop for him.
So, oh yeah, P33 overall. Yeah, it's going to be a minute or two for that pit stop as well. Oh, what car? Who is that facing the wrong way at turn number 1? It's the Caspian Racing GT3 Aston Martin, who is Oga's Onchel in 31st position now. He's got back going.
So Daniele Brambilla and Lorenzo Arisi still running nose to tail with Mantis Rekus sort of having a look, just watching what they're doing. He'll be first in line to capitalise if these two ever make any contact, but we've got 3 Aston Martins running nose to tail, so
Yeah, and we saw this
maybe
in...
the car to be in around here.
Yeah, we saw this in Sebring. I mean, actually, if you look behind them, after Rick Van Eer, you got Strana, Aston, Johnson in the Aston as well. So there's quite a few Aston Martins. But as we saw last time in Sebring, it was a little bit difficult for Johnson to get past Arisi. And it seems like Arisi is finding that out with Brambilla here as well. Because after Brambilla's made that move, probably about 7 or 8 laps ago now, he's managed just to stay in front, even despite having that bit of a wobble as well. In turn number 12, they still got the lead, and who is that? Rick Van Eer has got a stop-go penalty, so another round of cars is penalties for these cars is coming through. Now we've got Fortan and De Silva going side by side through turn 4 and 5, but it seems like Fortan has managed to keep that. Although he's dropped off his teammate James Johnson quite a lot in the last few laps.
I'm just on the SimRacing.Club forum just to see what kind of penalties are going to be had. So you're talking about Van Eer, were you just then?
Yeah, he got a stop-go penalty.
Avoidable contact at Sebring, apparently.
Yeah, I don't remember that off the top of my head, but unfortunately, a stop-go penalty is a bit more time lost compared to a drive-through. A drive-through is more almost a slap on the wrist. It's not too bad, but yeah, a stop-go, you're really going to lose some time with that, especially if it's like a 60-second stop-go. You're going to lose best part of a lap.
Well, Newcomb jump-started and got a drive-through. Ruben Carrera Alves was a Code 80 violation. De Crop was a Code 80 violation, but they're not in this race. Pretty much every penalty was a pit lane violation, with the exception of with Yunt, which was avoidable contact, Rekus, which was avoidable contact, Van Eer, which is avoidable contact, but got a 60-second stop-go, so that's a bit more severe in terms of that avoidable contactness. Have you spotted something?
David Young and Luca Di Maio all going on the corkscrew, and Young with a little bit of a questionable defense over Di Maio. Di Maio wasn't too happy, blinked his lights like, hey, don't do that move unless you want to get us both killed, and especially for the number 33, which, you know, he's running, if I'm not mistaken, P2 in the standings. This isn't something that he really doesn't want to face this early on in the race.
Luca Burke, championship leaders, back in for another drive-through penalty, so he's down to 10th place, as you say. Duello's 2nd place in the championship in the 33, so he's going to be gaining some points on Burke at this moment in time. And I believe that they are I'm just going to grab it back up. Yeah, they've got quite a big gap to the Caspian LMP3, who is actually quite a way down, if not DNF'd. Where is the Caspian LMP3? They must be quite a way down. So this is actually looking quite good for Di Maio if he can actually make his way up the field a little bit to beat Luca Burke. He's only 5 points behind at the moment, and there's only 1 race left after this, as we've said.
Well, Luca Burke actually picked up 2 drive-through penalties for pit lane violations at Sebring, so that will explain his 2nd penalty.
I see. Which is pretty crazy considering they probably only made 1 or 2 pit stops last time anyway. So it's unfortunate to make the same mistake twice.
But watching these 3 Aston Martins running away at the front, all those people that qualified for GT Pro the other week are probably thinking, I should have used that.
Yeah, I would assume they've got the same BOP, but I'm not sure because when the car selection for the VLMC was done many months ago now, back in September it would have been. The Aston Martin was a very good car, but there has been a BOP done by Studio 397, I believe, about one month ago now. That is make the cars a little bit more equal, but obviously there's still quite a few Astons at the front, as there is quite a few of them in the field overall.
From what I get, there's someone's up.
Mazzetti, I believe, is this turn? Where is this? Oh, this is turn 11 and 12 onto the back straight. And he's got awful suspension damage. He can't keep it in a straight line, and he probably should retire.
He's going into the wrong pit lane.
Yes.
Oh,
not the best race for him. He's crashed a couple of times now.
Arisi's gonna love this fight somewhat because there is a battle of teams. Ryan Walker and AJ Snyder are dueling it out right in front of Brambilla. So he's not gonna like that one bit.
Oh yeah, Risi flashing his headlights, saying "Get out of my way!" for these two satellite cars, and then we've got Nick Newcomb coming past as well. So this is what multi-class racing is all about. You got people in different positions, different classes. Oh, Newcomb's hit the back of someone there. Who is that? Not quite sure, but he's hit the back of one of the I think satellite cars actually, as Arisi has managed to get through with Brambilla. So who has gone from that group? That is Rekus. So Rekus must have taken his drive-through penalty from last race.
Yeah, but one thing I'm looking at the replay, I think Brambilla kind of, screwed up Newcomb a little bit because he blocked total Newcomb on the inside of turn number 1. That's why Newcomb actually hit one of the satellite cars on the outside of turn number 1. So that satellite was collateral damage due to Brambilla's,
Oh, he's got it!
That was huge. You saw that.
Where did he go?
At the same time, he is behind one of the barriers.
He's gone into the marshal's post. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, he just lost the rear for, I believe that's turn 8A. Lost the rear, went on the curb. He hit, massive contact with the barrier head on. The front of his car is all crumpled and whatnot. So that is going to be quite a few seconds damage.
Just dived out of the way of an LMP3. But
who's that off? There's 2 cars off. LMP3s.
Alex Jones and Vindersbergen.
Yeah, Alex Jones was second, I believe, in this race. Let's gonna look on my replay of that. So yeah, Jones went off on his own. A couple of seconds behind Ricky. He's gone off, and is that Binsbergen has basically followed him and smashed into his teammate. So that not good for Speedymite or Sean Jacobs, the team boss, who is also our race director here today.
I was going to mention that. He's not going to be pleased one bit.
Call the code A to give his team a chance.
No Vegemite for Speedymite. Lucas Melio trying to get past Dechutis. Last time, these two had a bit of contact in turn 4. Yeah, D'Amelio's just got squeezed out there on the outside. Oh, he's had a big slide. So he can't get side by side into turn 3 and 4 this time. Yeah, last time they were there, they went, or D'Amelio at least went off. But not on this occasion.
Snyder doing a little bit of rallycross just to avoid the traffic. He's doing very, very well, it has to be said, but he'll just be coming through the final corner now. Dodges the all-black Speedymite car and gets out of the way of Torres as well, so yeah, he can get that into the pit lane. Yeah. But it's going from bad to worse for Satellite at this point in time.
Yeah, and this should be interesting, by the way. D'Amelio is right on the back bumper or the back wing of Chutis once again.
Oh, he's dived up the inside of turn 12. Is he going to make that sticky? I think he actually might be able to. That was a really opportunistic move at all there. Bumping and barging down the straight.
Marshall as well.
As we come up here, we've got a couple of battles into turn 13. There's a little kink before which is the main corner is turn 14. They got to go through the little kinks side by side. D'Amelio, yeah. Oh no, there's big contact between these two. Can they avoid the barriers? Yes, they can. They simultaneously. Oh no, Dechutis cannot. Dechutis cannot. He's in the barrier. D'Amelio there. with a bit of contact.
Oh!
Joined into a GT3. That is not good. And then I think Luca Burke has hit the back of D'Amelio as well. So this is not a good few seconds. And Dechutis has just got in the way of another car. And I couldn't even see who that was. A Speedy Mike car, I think it was, at GT3. Quite a lot of action going on then. D'Amelio has actually pulled off to the side. I want to have a look at this.
I think D'Amelio has
see-
suspension damage. He has to retire the car.
Yeah, so
D'Amelio's out.
D'Amelio turned a lot tighter into turn 13 than Dechutis, which caused the contact in the braking zone of turn 14. And yeah, when he rejoined, he was at a 45-degree angle. And then the Aston Martin number 69 could not avoid him, unfortunately. So that's a shame, because that means that Luca Burke is going to gain quite a lot of points on D'Amelio, and that could be championship over.
Fortan's lost his rear wing. Olivier, I was just about to say.
Oh, he's just rejoined to is that Sansano, second place LMP3. Just got involved there, which could give Simon Marshall a run to get second place for the LMP3s as well.
I was just about to say that to apologise that we'd missed Nick
Oh,
De Silva
Fortan's flat out. Fortan might spin here as we come down. Yes,
there he goes.
He's gone.
Olivier, why, man? Why?
Is he going to have that contact with the barrier? Managed to avoid it. Managed to avoid it. But where is he now? It's at P8 overall. He really needs to be careful to get back to the pit lane. And I do...
You have a slow car in the final sector. No rear wing.
Do wonder what is going to happen here, because some of these drivers have just been a little bit too ambitious at the moment. Quite a few mistakes are happening.
Yeah, this is one of the things because I'm driving one of these Zancho cars at Le Mans, so I thought I'd jump into the server, see where I was pace-wise. You just got to drop the smallest millimeter.
Made it to the pit lane.
Smallest millimeter of your tyre onto the grass, and you're gone. It's such an easy track to mess up. So for those that are managing to put in fast lap after fast lap or fast lap, well, you're way better than I am, let's put it that way.
And just taking a look at the GT3 field, quite a lot has happened in the last few laps, because Brambilla has also had a drive-through penalty, so he is dropped down to 5th place in class behind Nick De Silva, Eric Strana, and James Johnson has made his way to 2nd place overall second place in class, I should say. Quite a way behind Arisi though, about half of the the back straight down, and he's got Eric Strana behind him, but he is now in 2nd place. So being calm, being safe, and not getting penalties last time out has put him in a good position. Although Arisi is fairly comfortable now in the lead.
I'll tell you one thing. Sebring has actually been a very tricky track for these guys, up to the point of getting so many penalties. I know the double lane pit exit is quite complicated for you to see, and it is very tricky once you go out. But you know, if you're not careful with that, well, the penalties are justified. And the only thing you have to be, careful is, just take it as a lesson for future endeavors. And I know this pit lane is not complicated. There isn't a line specifically. Just stick it to the inside part, and you're gonna be safe for the entirety of your pit exit. But still, 23 penalty, most of it because of pit lane incidents, is, I think it's a new record in VLMC or even VEC.
Well, Fortan's finally left pit lane, so he is a lap behind his next target, which is Rick Van Aale. Apologies again if I've mispronounced that name, but we've just lost Jilshinki as well. What happened there?
He was already quite far down, unfortunately. So not the best race for him. Says he's got suspension was the reason for his DNF, so it must have been too much for him.
Yeah, just give you a rundown of who we've lost so far. We've lost Luca Melio, we've lost Benjamin Jilshinki, Melia Kakmakli, and we've also lost Marco Mazzetti, Ian Beltons, David Nichols, and Antonello Miocci. So it's we've had quite a bit of attrition in the first 40 minutes of this race so far, but hopefully the rest of the race should be nice and simple.
And someone to look out for is Simon Marshall in 3rd place in the Team Rookie Monsters. He, I believe he got a podium last time out in Sebring as well, which was the first points for that car in the whole season. It was a podium last time out, and he's now in a podium position again here in 3rd place. One car to have no penalties or anything like that, I believe. So he's worked his way to the podium positions, and if he can stay there for the next hour and a half, might put him in a good position to get another podium position here.
Then
And he's right
a lot
behind
of trouble.
Sansano. Oh, he might be able to get past Sansano here, although he's going to get a bit stuck with the
Oh no
GT3 ahead.
Oh,
God, how did they
not crash?
They were too close there for comfort, to be honest, and I'm not quite sure how they didn't crash. Simon managed to back out of it just in time.
I can see what he was trying to do as well. He was trying to use Strana to block him in and sail past, but it looks like Sansano had better ideas. Sansano tries to stick one on the Sancho car, as well as I've forgotten the guy's name now. Sorry. It's Olivier Fortin, DNF. Oh, Marshall's gone.
Is he going to lose his rear wing on the wall? Can he keep it out?
He's gonna.
Just yes. Good save there by Simon Marshall. Although he hit the back of the yellow Zancho, who is
JJ, I think.
Johnson. Yes. So let's have a look at Johnson. He's getting overtaken now by David Junt in the Bezelia car. But he's managing to defend, although they got Philippakos coming down the inside. They couldn't get Johnson as well. That is Eric Strana now just being overtaken there, breaking up the little battle. So I do wonder if Johnson's got a little bit of damage though. We'll have to see how that plays itself out. Oh, yes. That is a shame for Johnson.
As spot Strana, that's not going to make ETJ very happy at all. He's lost one of his drivers and he's just been pushed off the track.
Oh yes, Ed, you mean?
Yeah, I'm trying to be down. I'm trying to be down with the kids, man. ETJ, you know, everybody's called by their initials these days, aren't they?
Well, yeah, I mean, well, Johnson is sometimes known as JJ as well, I believe. So, yeah, but he's lost that position. He's now got Luca Burke behind him, who didn't make a dive into turn 11 like he has done on a couple of occasions. But I'm sure Johnson can work his way back towards Strana, although the positions between the time between them is not too far on track, but is also not too far in terms of lap time. So he's going to have to work his way back up over the next few laps.
Let's see how big that gap actually is. And just consult the live timing. My live timing's gone down. Oh dear.
Burke is off.
Oh, really? And then Simon Marshall as well was trying to go on the inside of Johnson again. So 2 times in 1 lap, really. Marshall has hit Johnson. He's now got Binsbergen coming up behind as well. They're trying to get past the satellite car as they come down into turn number 1. Can Binsbergen get around the outside? I think he can. Though, yeah, there's a bit too much contact at the moment between some of these cars. As that's James Johnson now getting stuck behind the satellite car, losing a bit more time to Eric Strana.
Yeah, JJ's got to make up
satellite
3.5 seconds.
Yeah, satellite car went around as well. In the background, although they are a lap or so down as well. So James Johnson getting involved in all sorts as that's Luca Burke now coming up past him into turn 7 and 8. And he's now got Tutus behind him. So yeah, it's really the traffic that is causing various implications. As we kind of expected, to be honest. It is such a tight track.
It's as wide as a harpoon, as someone in chat has said.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's not just the corners, but the actual track width in a lot of locations is quite thin, and when we get to the VEC in a couple of weeks' time at this track 3 class with the McLaren Senna GTR as well, it is going to be absolutely crazy if you get all 3 classes overtaking each other on the back straight, let alone in the corners here.
Yeah, Jimmy Allison will be in charge for that one, so
good luck.
I'm assuming he's going to have some choice words to say in his driver briefing about behaving and things like that. So
yeah,
no one we normally say like the briefing should be about 20 minutes. You know, just get the basic information about the track. This will be about an hour.
Well, yeah, hopefully the drivers will be behaving themselves. They have actually been pretty good today. It's just sometimes you get in some really awkward situations where you're trying to not lose time to someone else. You want to get past them, but then the corner comes up and it gets a little bit too awkward. But hopefully as we get...
that's an LMP3 that's just gone off in the background, head on into the wall.
That's the
Chutis, yeah, and he's now got Timpen coming behind, so he's coming through turn 3 and 4 when he has this accident. Yeah, just lost the rear a tiny bit, touched the grass, and that was, enough for him to go headfirst into the wall. 8th place overall now for Chutis. Quite a few drivers, making mistakes. Even though we are 40 minutes into the race now, still making some mistakes, unfortunately.
Yeah, just looking at Lorenzo's car, I don't think he's got suspension damage. That car's still driving the straight line, so that's good news for him. Sorry, what was that?
You said my car?
Lorenzo de Chutis.
There's a couple of Lorenzos, because Lorenzo Risi also leading in GT3. So quite a popular name for you guys.
Yeah, I'm Brazilian, but I'm from Italian descendancy. So it's a popular name, so I cannot blame them.
Institute is going to make a pit stop here. No, he stays out, so he hasn't, despite that hit, which is quite big to be honest, he is carrying on in 8th place overall at the moment. And just to run you through a couple of things that are happening. So Ricky is now leading by 12 seconds from David Junt. So the Waveframe guys are doing pretty well because his, effectively sister teammate, Lorenzo Arisi, in the GT3 version of that team, is leading the GT3s as well by, I believe it's about 6 seconds or so from Eric Strana. So a good day for the Waveframe guys, but they still got a pit stop to look out for, and potentially some Code 80s later on in the race too.
There's about 15 more minutes before we're expecting the P3s to come in. Something like that?
For the GT3s, yes. The P3s can go a little bit longer, probably about an hour and 10 minutes. Whereas the GT3s are give or take an hour. But they've got to be careful, because if they pit before the hour mark, that means their second stint is going to be longer. And the first fuel stint obviously includes a formation lap, which barely uses any fuel. So they've got to be careful with that. Make sure they don't run out of fuel or make a second pit stop, because you will lose quite a bit of time if you have to make another pit stop when other drivers don't.
And for Ricci, there's a very interesting scenario developing for the number 7 car, because on the standings, I'm just looking over here, they are at 4th position. They're about 34 points behind Speedy Mine, behind Luca Burke's car. So what a win like this, and the way the race is actually shaping up for the other teams, they are actually automatically putting them within contention for the Le Mans race, where the double points will be stacked. So everything is going so far very well for that Italian team.
Yeah, it's so far indeed.
Off at the final corner, and Philip Arcos has managed to get past in his Speedy Mite car. There is so many Speedy Mites on this track today.
Yeah, there's, I believe, well, I do have a sheet here. They got 5 LMP3s and I believe 2 GT3s. There's 7 cars in total. As Sean Jacobs just gives us a little wave from the race director's booth as well, with his team. That's good to see that him
It's
running
a
the series.
shout-out,
He's got the
that's all it
drivers
is.
here.
Now I'm wondering about one thing. Imagine if they were all paid drivers. How the hell does John Jacobs manage to pay them up?
Well, one would probably not need to ask those questions.
By
With
position.
the, yeah.
He pays them in exposure.
And
That
one thing I
mythical
like with
currency.
the Speedimite LMP3 is if you look at, for instance, like Philippakos, he's Greek, but he's got like a Greek livery car. So it's a Speedimite livery, but with the colours of the Greek flag, which is
Nick
quite a
Silvers
nice
is yellow
touch.
and green for Australia.
You got Luca Burke, who is all black, so he
Kiwi?
obviously. No, so he obviously likes wearing black jeans and a black hoodie all the time, maybe. Who knows?
Slovenian, okay.
The only
God.
thing for Philippakos that is missing is the controller.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, controller boy.
It
The
always
controller
surprises me how good he is being on a controller on R-Factor 2. It has to be said, but he obviously makes it work. And I believe he's actually in Division 1 of VEC as well.
He is, yeah.
So he's got some good
Yeah.
pace.
That's offensive. How fast he is.
Oh, he's just gone
He's
off.
just gone
He's
off.
just gone off as we speak about him. He's gone into the wall.
Why do we have to curse?
It's always when you start talking about
Commentator's
someone.
curse, it's real.
Can he rejoin safely?
Yes, he
can. But that is just typical that we start talking about him and he goes off.
Sorry, Sean.
Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, yeah. Driver's mistake, but that corner is a little bit difficult because it's two corners, but you take it as one really long hairpin that sort of gets tighter on the exit. So
Trail braking all the way into it.
And if you miss that braking point, then yeah, you really are going to suffer. And he's now just behind of Pacho Torres, although Torres is actually Pacho Torres. What car? I'm not familiar of his team. Who's in? He's in the Speed in Live team, number 18, and he's been off a couple of times. I've just been clicking on him every now and again. He has been off a few times, and he's now one lap down behind Nick Newcomb, who's also one lap down in class.
I've got the stream up on my other monitor, and I've just seen a slow-mo replay of Philippakos going into that wall. That's just rubbing it in.
Yeah, save that time frame and send it to him later on. I'm sure he would love to have a look at it.
You can't do it on YouTube, can you? If this was Twitch.
Ah, yes.
I've just seen Luca Berg as well, just go flying across the infield section that we missed in the live broadcast. So apologies for that.
Yeah, I do wonder if all of these little errors are because of the track itself, or just because I don't know, maybe some drivers don't know it, because it's not the most used track.
There is a few things to actually notice. First and foremost, the track is very tricky to learn, and the braking points are very hard for you to master. But there's another thing to mention, specifically at the oak tree. If you guys notice, if you grab any car that is actually going through the oak tree, the boards, the braking boards are actually out. So if you don't have a reference for that turn, there is a good chance you might just end up where Philippakos was just a little bit ago, in the outside wall.
And we've also lost Bill Worrell. It's actually been disqualified. So did he take too much of the infield section by doing that?
Sean said that. He said he went off, and when you try and rejoin, if you skip like too many corners, the game will be like, what are you doing? Try to cut half the track, which is apparently how he got a DNF.
Good battle for fourth.
Who is off? Oh, Nick Newcomb. Oh, bless him. He's not having the best day. He's been off a few times in the. What car number is he again? Number 22. Nick Newcomb.
He's been running around the back of the LMP3 field for most of the race, so I've just noticed there's a drone flying around. That's pretty cool. So that's my second time actually looking at this version of the track, so it's that's a little fun feature.
there is a good battle right now for P3, 4, and 5 because Sanzana just lost a chunk of time. Be stuck behind Newcomb, and that actually allows Simon Marshall, Luca Berg. Is Simon Marshall actually gonna try it on the outside? Do it on your madman.
Oh
Oh!
no!
Oh, that's where he crashed for as well. Remember,
Yeah,
so
it is.
he's obviously got some big ones to try it again. And now Luca Burke was trying to get past, but yeah, you can't really get past into that. Was effectively the final corner is a little bit too
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 tight,
difficult. Yeah, but yeah, to see if Simon Marshall can finally get past Insano. He's been behind him for so long. Hasn't been able to make it work. Little flash there. So Nick Newcomb is getting out of the way.
Bill Worrell's been allowed to rejoin the race, so Sean Jacobs has un-DQ'd him, if that's a word, and he can rejoin right at the back of the LMP3 field.
Yeah, I believe it was probably a bit of a game issue. So Sean Jacobs feeling nice, and yeah, he's going to be at the back anyway. But it's good to let these drivers at least have a bit more time. So yeah, we got now Simon Marshall with Luca on the back of him, but that was the prime example coming through turn 6. Simon Marshall got stuck behind the GT3, couldn't go full throttle. Luca Burke behind him was full throttle and managed to use his momentum to get past as they went up to the S's section. So that's another position for Simon Marshall lost, but maybe he'll be able to get past. And Sano having a bit of a wiggle there. They come out of turn 12 as well.
Philippakos nearly sent a one of the GT3s that actually Simon Marshall was struggling to overtake in the Philippakos, you madman! He nearly sent him to the Shadow Realm.
Well, that GT flashed him. He wasn't happy about that one, was he?
Oh no!
I need to learn who that GT3, that black GT3 is, because I keep on mistaking. Oh, it's Daniele Gulli, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah, Daniele.
That's who it is. Keep on.
It is, yeah, 14th over, 14th in class.
Yeah, getting mixed up. Oh, we got a pitter, Jelle Binsbergen. It's probably a bit early to be a scheduled stop because we're only about 50 minutes into the race, if you minus the formation lap time as well. So essentially a bit early.
Fuel. So unless they underfueled the car to try and catch up a little bit, I don't know.
Yeah, well, because the tank is big enough, if you pit now, you can get to the end of the race, but obviously you then have a longer stop because you got to take more fuel. So it's generally a more efficient way to take all of the fuel at the start of the race and then have a shorter pit stop as you can.
He was stationary for 19 seconds, so yeah, it looks like he was just topping the fuel tank back up, and now he's off out again, trying to maybe try some sort of cut on the others around him.
We now got these LMP3 pack coming past. Who's that? Sanzano's got off. He's hit
he's in the wall. Yeah.
God, the cameras on this track are really weird because I was on Luca Burke, and all of a sudden Sanzano just went straight off.
He's gone off at.
Yeah, he went straight off at the corner just before that. Boops the wall, and he is still going. But now Simon Marshall is back into 4th place, but Luca Burke is ahead of him.
I think I might be able to see it on the... obviously, because the stream's about 30 seconds behind. I was going to see... Yeah, he braked way too late. He's just straight on.
I thought for a minute there was contact between Burke and Sanzano, but no, it's just Sanzano doing whatever happened over there. It's easy to figure out, break yourself. So
Binsbergen's got off in P9, just made his pit stop, but he's just gone off and he's got his teammate behind him. Well, I believe it's.
No, maybe not.
Wait, who?
Who is that? That was lap traffic.
Yes, it was a lap car, but just wondering who that was. Yeah, so LMP3s. Interesting couple of LMP3s are coming in because you would expect the GT3s to pit earlier. But maybe they were trying something a bit different with the fuel strategies.
Oh. Who's that gone off right now in turn number 4 or 5? Is that Sanzano again? That's the Sanzano again going off.
Binsbergen's pitting. Again, for some reason?
Possibly sped in the pit lane.
Oh, all right.
I would
Satellite,
assume-
the
Yeah, drive
GT3
through.
satellite took him out, but he kind of, Sunzun, I think, just outcalculated the gap between him and the GT3, and no blame on the GT3 for the
Oh,
contact.
Binsbergen's gone again. Went too wide in, I think it's turn 1. It's full 360, but he's managed to get it back onto the track. And he's just lost a lap to Michele Ricci.
Yeah, so weird cup-ups there for Binsbergen. Yeah, Sean Jacobs said he had a DT, so that must have been from, I would assume, speeding the pit lane. He's about to go again. He must have really ruined these tyres. Yeah, it says heavy fuel use tyres, so maybe, I didn't actually notice this in Sebring, but maybe the LMP3s aren't going to take tyres, they're only going to take fuel at their pit stop. We'll have to see on that one. Obviously, you'll save a bit of time by not taking tyres. You have older tyres and potentially are slower or going to crash like Binsbergen. So there's always the balance that you have to choose.
Let's go check in with SimHub. Usually that tells you what tyres they're running, but I don't think. I don't think it will.
Yeah, it says the compound, but not the wear, unfortunately. For us,
they're all on softs. Every single car is on softs, so it's not like they're running a harder compound to stay out longer or anything.
yeah, it's still generally quicker to use the softs in double stint from previous experience, although I don't have as much experience with the LMP3s specifically. At least in other cars.
Not a car I get along with, to be honest.
Oh, Binsbergen's back in.
Same.
Oh, there we go.
Binsbergen is back in. What is he doing? This is not being a good fuel lap.
Let's have a look.
I think someone.
It's another drive-through.
Yeah.
He's been busted for speeding twice.
I was gonna say someone from the Speed My strategy room is gonna be hanged after this race. From what it looks like.
We can just blame Sean though. I'm sure he'll love that.
That too. Oh, Nick
Silver's
out.
He is out. I assume this is going to be a big crash. As I just jump on the replays, coming up to turn 10, the left-hander. What is going to happen? Yeah, he just loses the rear at the exit.
That's
massive
the
hit.
For the oak tree, isn't it?
Yeah, massive hit for Nick De Silva. He DNF last race as well, so he was looking good in the championship, but not today, or not these two races really. And Sansano is now into the lane.
Tyres.
Currently 8th place. Yeah, tyres is obviously the safer option, but then you lose, I would assume, about 30 seconds to take tyres. So then you've got to make back that 30 seconds. So
right.
that
James
is
Johnson in the pits. Rick Van Earl is not going to be happy about that.
No, I know that. Yeah,
You can get out in front, but still, imagine if there was another car in front.
Yeah.
I do wonder, are they
ghosting.
actually... Are they sharing a box? Or is there just two there?
I think
There might just be two there.
It's a semi-share, I think.
Side-by-side pit boxes, Sean, so that's to stop people sharing and having to...
Yeah.
Because of the way R Factor works, it's not like the Formula 1 games of the past or the present where each team has its box as it would in real life. It's basically just randomly assigned, so Sancho might share a box with another team that has no affiliation with Sancho, so that can be quite annoying. So side-by-side pit boxes works on that occasion, so they can just get on with it and get out again, as Jay now has.
Yeah, James Johnson pitted bang on halfway point in the race where we are at now, so he's
no
going to be he's going to be fine. Did he take no tyres? You say okay, so that is something to look out for later on if anyone else decides to maybe take tyres, maybe Arisi, because he has quite a comfortable lead, but then again you have to make that time back. And something to mention is Eric Strana lost quite a lot of time about 5 or 6 laps ago and actually dropped off a little
now
bit.
in the pits.
So where
Arisi's not taking tyres either.
Yeah, but he just got in.
His car did just move down though for
Oh,
me.
Strana.
I believe Arisi is taking tyres.
I think he
I
took
don't
the
see him
front.
Don't see him on the jacks though.
No, he did take tires. He did.
Must be my screen.
Yeah, it is odd to look at, but believe it or not, he actually took tires front and back.
Brambilla is in as well.
And Strana, I'll give it this much. I'll give now major props to Eric Strana because he just zigzagged the entire pit stall looking for his pit entry box.
I have just seen that come up on the stream. That's fantastic.
So, is James Johnson here going to take the lead if he hasn't taken tyres? Yes, he is, because Arisi is still sitting there. So James Johnson here, I believe, is going to be leading your GT3 class with Eric Strana a few seconds behind you. Also didn't take tyres. The Brambilla is in there too. Arisi is out, so Arisi, this could work for him because he had a lead, so he's got less time to make up. But we have to see the gap when they get to a sector point. But this could be quite interesting because if James Johnson has a big enough lead and can keep those tyres working to the end, he might be able to take a race victory here at VIR.
Well,
Yeah, we have to look at the first 3 laps so we can actually grab a glimpse of an idea on how that soft will perform for Arisi, and if Johnson is actually on mediums. I think I don't know if the GT3s is the same situation as the LMP3s, but if they're on softs and Johnson is double steaming the softs, that will be interesting because he's going to be on a low tread whenever he comes into the end of the race.
Well, I don't know who's actually doing the engineering for James today. It might be Nick, I don't know, but Nick Dealey will be crunching numbers and with his spreadsheets and all that stuff. So there's going to be a reason why he's done it.
Yeah.
But
As long as his tyres don't die, it should be fine because there's a bit of a behind Arisi to Mantis Recus, so it could still be a pretty much confirmed podium for Johnson. But yeah, it was really one of those situations where he dropped a little bit, and this was really the only way he was going to gain a chunk of time. Such is the closeness on lap speed between these drivers.
Well, he's got to try and catch up because of the way he was barged off the road by that P3 earlier on in the race, and that took what would have been a second place from him if everything had panned out the way it panned out.
And he's got Eric Strana behind him, so Arisi is going to have to circumnavigate Strana 2 as well. So this could be a good position for him, but again, we'll just have to see how it works out. And we'll have to wait for a couple of sector times to come in to see if Arisi has the pace to catch up to them.
Mike McGear is going to be catching Strana. That will be for position. That LMP3 is well out of place at the minute. That M2 racing car, the purple car. Well, that's hang on. Oh, there we go. Right. Yeah, so something's happened to that car because he's quite out of place at the minute.
Brambilla now is just getting overtaken by Torres. This is actually 4th position.
Yeah,
despite Torres being in the LMP3. Such has been his troubles in this race. But yeah, Brambilla's dropped off a little bit. He did have the race lead earlier on, but obviously has penalties and pit stops and things like that. Traffic work their way out. He has dropped down to, is that 5th in class, I think? Yes, 5th in class for Brambilla at the moment.
Yeah, Dan Finney's actually quietly made his way up to 6th from 10th.
Ooh.
So he's just making it all back in the pit stops by the looks of things.
So on this lap, Arisi, Sector 1, 1 second quicker than James Johnson in Sector 1, and another couple of tenths in Sector 2 as well. Obviously, didn't see if there was traffic dependent, but if that is the pace that Arisi's got, then it might be quite a good day for him. But he still has to make the overtakes work, even if he catches up to them.
We can go for a little bit of a joke and say that Arisi has been given scenario 7 for his car, so he can push all the way up.
Well, he pit later as well, so he's going to have a tiny bit more fuel to use if he did a full tank. So he can push that tiny bit extra. And we've now got Lorenzo Di Ciutis 6th place. one of the first of the top LMP3 runners. I do wonder when the rest are going to come in. We're told about an hour and 10 minutes, so we are about 5 minutes away from that. So we have to see if they come in.
How they got on with the traffic as well, doesn't it? If they have no troubles with traffic, then they're going to burn through the fuel faster. But if they get stuck behind traffic, then they're going to burn through the fuel slower. So
yeah, if you get stuck behind, you go slower. You just don't go flat out because you're behind a car that's way slower than you. So you actually save quite a bit of fuel in traffic if you do it correctly. But then obviously you lose loads of time. So it's that balance of how aggressive you want to be in traffic. And now we've got Luca Burke from P3. And remember again, this is your championship leader in the number 5 Speedy Mite. Because even though the most of the teams have one driver, it is obviously the number 5 car that is leading the championship itself. And that is actually something to mention for next race. Next race in Le Mans is a 4-hour race. And most of these drivers have done the season on their own. So they need to get teammates really to be competitive over 4 hours, although I'm sure you'll see someone like David Junt do all of the 4 hours on his own.
no pressure then.
But yeah, that is obviously something to take into account because it is double the length of all these other races that we've got in the Virtual Le Mans Cup.
I'm going to have to get quick.
Wait, you're with Finney, aren't you?
I'm in Finney's car, yeah, with him, so I think he'll probably do the first stint, given that he's in Straya, and then I'll take over the final 2 hours. So I'm looking forward to it, though. Yeah, a bit of competitive racing and all that stuff. The commentary team car, it'll be fun.
Yeah, because did you say you got Lewis McCade in there as well?
Yeah, I think he's.
So it's literally full commentary team.
I think he's in. I think he might James's car or Olivier's car. I don't know yet. After all will be revealed at Le Mans. I'm not revealing anything yet because 1, I don't know, and 2, find out.
Yeah, and the main
Hashtag team commentators get good.
Yeah, the main thing with Le Mans as well is that it's worth 40 points for a race win, whereas the race today is worth 30 points. That's about a third extra points they will get in Le Mans. So just a little bit. Well, yeah, just a little bit extra for the drivers. It's going to make the championship calculations a little bit more confusing.
Well, here's the thing about Le Mans is that last year in VEC Le Mans, the first, well, actually it was the first race I ever commentated on. We were talking about how, sorry Sean, but Speedy Mite just had to finish because of the double points to make sure that they won the LMP3 title that year. And as soon as I said that, the LMP3 was backwards at the Dunlop chicane, missing its rear wing and couldn't get the engine restarted. It's absolutely gutting to watch. So I killed Speedy Mite's championship that year, I think.
Yeah, that's the joys of multi-class and endurance racing, though, because even today with a 2-hour race, which, I mean, some of these drivers is obviously not too difficult, there's still in quite a few incidents and quite a lot of things happen. And we now got your race leader, Michaela Ricky, in the pit lane. So yeah, pretty much bang on an hour and 10 minutes. An hour and 9 to be precise. If you minus the 3 minutes for the formation lap as well. Big jump following him in. So these won't need a full tank. So this will be a shorter pit stop than the likes of, say, Luca Burke, who has already made his pit stop. And yeah, Ricky's already out, look at that. That was just a splash and dash kind of situation for Ricky. So no tyres or anything like that. I think David Junt as well, not taking tyres. There's just fuel for these MP3 drivers.
Has the 67 Sancho pitted yet? I don't think he has.
Which one is 67?
Finney.
Let's have a look at his lap. Yes, he did about 6 laps ago.
Okay.
He had a 2-minute 59, so I would assume that is a pit stop lap.
You'd hope.
You'd hope so. Poor Dan. Trying his best.
He's streaming. Go and check in with Dan's stream.
Yeah. And he's I say just, about half a straight behind Daniele Brambilla. So he's actually in a pretty good position. Has to be said, he's had a bit of a quiet race. We haven't really spoken about him much, but he's 6th place overall. in a 67 Zancho. And hopefully next time out you won't crash that car.
Don't say that. I'm driving it.
So where is
Hashtag
67?
jinx.
So they are 9th in the championship at the moment, the number 67. Best place finish was actually in round 1.
Hang, wasn't it?
Yeah, round 1. So
yeah, he's not had good luck, Dan. I think he had screen freezes at Imola that wiped him out, or other people's screen freezes wiped him out at Imola, and he didn't have a good time at the Nürburgring either when he went off at the hairpin. So hopefully he can keep. I mean, he's not the flashiest driver. He's one of those guys that he drives to the numbers. Is Dan. So he started 10th, he's now up to 6th, and he's just driving, plugging on. It's not all about the overtakes, people. This is Alain Prost levels of driving here.
well, and just to go back to the front of the GT3s, Arisi in Sector 1 again was another 7/10 quicker than James Johnson. He is catching slowly. He will be able to see Eric Estrada now as they get onto the back straight, but they're coming through Sector 3 as they are finishing the 41st lap for the GT3s. And he is certainly getting closer, but can he get close enough in the remaining 45 and a bit minutes? That is the real question.
Meanwhile, actually, believe it or not, we have not only that battle in the GT3 front of the field, but also back in the field, Daniele Tulli and Gianluca Di Matteo are actually in a battle for the back of the pack of the GT3 field.
My points go quite a way down. I'm not sure what position are they in. They're 10th, so this will be for
P24.
points. Yes, they will be getting points if they can get to the end of this. And yeah, Di Matteo is actually having a look at Tulli right now. They've got a couple of cars ahead of them as well. That might cause some issues. Yeah, Tulli's got down and just touched the inside of one. I believe that's the Caspian car. Now Di Matteo's gone. He's spun. He has turned right into a left corner. And he's got some damage on the front of that car for sure. Now Brambier's coming through. Oh, tiny bit of contact there with Brambier. So Brambier being quite urgent to get through there. But yeah, Di Matteo. In one of the only Porsches, has to be said, there aren't many Porsches out on the field. Number 65 is
It's a bit of a contrast to the VEC where there's millions of them, but it's everybody seems to have gone with the Aston. As I'm just seeing, oh, okay, that's why he went into the wall. He got onto the grass on the left-hand side of the track, and that just decided to spear him off to the right. But he survives to drive another day.
Yes, on that lap, Arisi didn't quite catch as much, but he's getting very close now. You can just about see the two of them as they head into turn number 1. So he's got plenty of time to still catch up to them. So he needs to judge this correctly because he doesn't want to burn out his tyres or burn up his fuel catching them either, or at least not at an excessive rate.
Yeah, Johnson last lap 45. Well, his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 laps are a 45.9, 45.5, 45.6, 45.8, 45.6, 45.5, and 45.6. So still nice and consistent. But where is Strana's lap times in relation to that? So I've got to find him. Where is he? There he is. Yeah, 45.2 was Strana's last lap. So he's slowly cutting into that lead. So we're going to be seeing those two battling very, very soon.
And he's now got Luca Burke just gonna... Oh, it's not Luca Burke. Oh, who's that? There's two black LMP3s.
One's Burke, one's Worrell.
Worrell, that's it. Okay, Worrell's getting past him on the back straight. But yeah, just gonna say Luca Burke in 3rd position. He's 10 seconds off Junt, and he's got about 6-second lead to Marshall. So he's sitting there fairly comfortably in 3rd place as the championship leader at the moment in the LMP3s, although Ricky is going to be gaining some decent points on him today. Just going to grab up the points distribution just to make sure that I'm getting it absolutely correct. It is, yeah, 30 points for a race victory. And then it is 25 for second and 21 for third place. So 9 points Ricky will be gaining if it finishes as they are. Well, that's still, it's enough to keep him in the championship contention, but it's not enough to really sort of make a mark, because he is quite a few points off.
No, JJ! Oh, he survived. Whew. But that's put Strider back in contention. Strider's going to have to cut one of the S's. Basically, James Johnson went round one of the satellite cars, and the satellite car just sort of gave him a little bit of a nudge as he cut back across onto the racing line, tipped the back end down, but somehow JJ kept it under control. Strider had to go across the grass to avoid him, but that's managed to keep Johnson in the lead for the foreseeable future. But how quick is Strider going to come back at this?
Yeah, now Reese's right in the back of them as well. So that could be what Reese really needed, because he has now got all the time in the world to make these moves stick. But sometimes it's easier to make the overtake as soon as you catch up onto the back of someone, because that is when they're most vulnerable.
Well. So it's kind of Strider closing in a straight line. So the slipstream's good enough on that back straight, it seems. So we've now got a three-way battle for the lead as Johnson, Strider, and Arisi come through the final corner. It's going to be a hot one. I don't think Strider's going to be close enough to make a move into turn one as they come across the start-finish line. He's not going to show his nose or anything. He's just keeping it behind, maybe waiting for a mistake. Who knows? I can't listen in.
Well, this is the closest that these have been for quite a while now. Reese's thinking about it on Eric Strana, although not quite close enough. But he's getting a different line to try and show Eric, hey, I'm here. You know what's happening. He still needs to make that move stick. And as we mentioned before, they're all in the same car, so there's no sort of top speed or power differentials. The only differences they're driving are maybe a degree of wing angle here and there. Although I would assume most of them are pretty much on the minimum rear wing, as I think is pretty much the standard between the GT cars.
I mean, I know the setup of that Sancho car. I'm not saying anything.
You didn't see anything, no. But yeah, Strana getting very close now as they come onto the back straight. But they've got a couple of cars going to come past them. Is that Jones, I believe that is, Alexander Jones. Yeah, got it right this time. Through the many Speedy Mike cars, Jones is going to be getting past him. Can he get Johnson as well? Yes, he can, nice and safely. So traffic shouldn't affect them too much, although Johnson really late on the brakes. Can he avoid? He avoided him. Good job.
Wow.
But that is what traffic can do.
I think that's one of the things that's catching some of these drivers out, is that the braking for the GTs and the braking for the LMPs they're different. So you might think, oh yeah, I can brake nice and late in this car, but the car that's trying to get round me can't. And that's where people get, oh, here comes Strider looking to the outside of turn one as Johnson covers him off. I think that's either Burke or Worrell going through as that 27 LMP3 decides to go wide. Is it going to slot in behind? No, it's not. It's going to slot in behind Arisi. It's just letting him get on. No, he's slotting in behind Strider. So yeah, this is going to be hotting up now. That's put Arisi out of the battle for the time being, but I mean, JJ's doing everything he can to keep Strider behind. Maybe let Strider burn through his tyres a bit as well.
And you have to remember, these guys, Strider and Johnson, will be hanging onto their tyres by the end of the race. So they don't want to push too much now, because they really want to make sure they have tyres towards the end of the race as well. They've got to be thinking about that as they battle for position as well.
Oh, Burke might have got a touch track in there.
Yeah. Basically cut the corner out, didn't he?
He did. He did cut the corner.
Sorry, it's Worrell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that Burke? It looks like it's Burke. Oh, yeah, that's Worrell. Psych, yeah. That's the wrong number.
Same paint job.
Yeah, well, Worrell isn't the speedy bike car. Burke's got one or two Speedy Mike logos, but yeah, that's about it for them, for the livery. So it is quite a difficult one to see the difference of. Although Wills are now going up the inside of Strana and should be able to get Johnson nice and comfortably, but getting a little bit tight. Hopefully Johnson doesn't have to lose too much in the braking zone again. And yeah, it's perfectly fine on this occasion. But Johnson is very good on those brakes, has to be said.
Yeah, one of the things I was saying is that they can brake super deep into turn one, but I couldn't see it.
And
Only
Norris
just hit the
is
wall so
already
many
knocking on
times.
their back bumpers.
It's nice to see there's such a close battle between these drivers. And Mantis Rekus in 4th position is probably a bit too far behind. But if these guys keep battling towards the end of the race, he might be able to get a bit closer. We still haven't had a code 80 in this race, which is quite incredible. Which always shuffles the order a little bit as well, if pit stops and that are taken.
I mean, given how much runoff there is for drivers to cut out corners and safely get back to the pits, that's probably why we haven't seen one yet. It would take a pretty hefty shunt with multiple cars, I think, to bring one out here.
And Rekus caught over a second on that last lap to Arisi, so he is catching slowly. Obviously, these guys are battling. They've had, some traffic and
Right, here
whatnot.
comes Arisi.
He's thinking about
that's
it.
never gonna
He
stick.
showed a nose.
Yeah, he's thinking about it. He's trying to just show, hey, I'm coming.
I know
You
you're trying to
just-
get past this guy, but I'm here
Because-
too.
Because Strana's in such a difficult position. He's got to attack and defend, and sometimes attacking will lead you open to not be able to defend like he is here. He went a little bit wide at that final corner, and Arisi's going to get his nose down the inside. He's going to have to be quite good on the brakes to get a whole car length. But now it seems the Strana
Round the outside.
GOT car has a quite good top speed, so maybe Arisi running a little bit more wing.
Yeah, keep that rear end in check. That will help you through the oak tree, especially with the braking you got to do there. You can easily spin the car if you overdo it, especially on worn tyres as well. But maybe those two battling will help Johnson pull away. But I can't really see it happening, to be honest. Great helicopter shot of these three coming through the S's as they head towards the left-hander that leads towards the oak tree, and now they're at the oak tree itself.
This is something that is really interesting, I think, on the past 2 laps. Unless it is arrow push related, Arisi always on the left-hand kick before the oak tree corner. He always has been, kind of stuck behind, giving a little bit of gap.
Or
to
Arisi side by
Strana
side,
as
though.
he goes on
He's
the
going to get it.
outside.
Is he going to be able to make it work, though? Last time we
They're
saw
gonna hit.
Oh,
something like
they're
this,
gonna
there was
hit.
a crash.
No.
Oh, they left room. That is very good
Wow.
from Eric Strana, leaving the room nicely. Good
Oh,
fair
that's
racing,
Side by side. Oh, he's got it now.
and
Right.
Arisi has managed to make that work. That is really nice racing from Strana. I know a lot of drivers through that left-hander, I think it's turn 15, would have just cut Arisi off, but he did not do that. So nice fair racing, and Arisi managed to get the position, and he's
Here
now
comes Strana.
going to be chasing down Johnson. Although
Strana's
Strana,
coming back, yeah.
we saw earlier a couple laps ago, Strana has good speed down into turn 1, so he might be able to make that work if he can stick on the back of Arisi, which I think he will be able to, because look how much they catch up Johnson already.
I think Johnson's going to be easy pickings for Arisi on this lap. Probably at the end of the straight after the oak tree, maybe, or maybe it's turn 1. But yeah, I don't think Johnson's lead is going to last for more than 3 laps.
Yeah, I think this is a case that
3?
he needs to just not lose too much time.
Best case scenario, 3.
I put 2 laps.
Oh, you got to look, Arisi is right there. And as you say, yeah,
No,
Arisi took
No,
tyres though, didn't he?
yeah. Here's the thing. Now you just see he gives a little bit of. Sorry.
Oh, who was that went off? P3 just went off. There was
What's-
a P3 on the inside of Oak Tree. But he's got it back on track now.
is that
Yeah.
is that Bill Worrell? I think it is, if it was
Yeah,
just ahead of
Bill.
them.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of him in the last few laps. Oh, Reese's going for the race lead. Down the inside. Look at his top speed. He's coming way past.
Let it go, James. Let him go.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
No,
fighting.
he's not.
He's fighting.
James is trying.
He's fighting. Oh, look at that.
Will Arisi give him room
Oh,
like Strana
yeah.
did? Yes, he managed to make it work. So Arisi
Yeah, there we
takes
go.
the lead of the GT3 class. And I think we all knew that was coming at some point. And I don't think Johnson is going to be able to hold it off, to be honest. The speed of Arisi is quite incredible at the moment. But these two, Strana, now just need to make sure they don't lose enough time to give Rekus a chance to come back at it. That is really what they need to do. And then they'll have a second for those two to fight it out. Because I assume Arisi now is just going to go off into the sunset.
P4, LMP3. We've got Lazaros Philippakos and Luca Burke
Yeah,
here.
teammates here. And
So what's going to happen?
I wonder
Is
if...
one going to let the other go? Or
Yeah, Philippakos...
He's just let him go.
Yeah, because Burke, we didn't say about 3 laps ago, he got a drive-through penalty for corner cutting, which is automatically by the game. So that is why he's dropped off a little bit. And he's only a few seconds behind Marshall, so there might still be P3 on the cards, but P2 seems like it has gone for Luca Burke. But Simon Marshall again in a podium position. Although, is it... Johnson, Strana coming onto the back straight. Strana's trying to get his nose down the inside, but Johnson's just keeping him there for now. Has he made it work? Yes, he has been able to defend. Strana not on this occasion. Not P2 just yet. Oh, yeah, I think Johnson is... Oh, who's got off in the back there? Someone went straight on at turn 14 in the back. Who is that? Might be an AJ Snyder. He is off the track at the moment in the final sector, but he went straight on. No braking or anything like that, it looked like. But now Strana, can he get to the inside? No, he can't. But he now got the Seawolf car behind them. The LMP3 might get involved and cause some issues for one of these drivers.
Oh, all right. So this is something that is going to be really interesting for the Strana and Johnson fight, because Rob Timpin is right behind him, and he's being very patient. He's looking left and right. Oh, and actually he just let Ricci go by. So now Ricci comes into the fray, and now I really want to see how the driver from Wave Frame is gonna go. He's gonna go before the gas. He's gonna actually screw Strana a little bit before he goes into the turn, and he's not happy.
Yes, Ricky's got a 30-second lead, so that extra second or half second for him doesn't... Oh, he's gone off! Ricky's gone off! Race lead has gone off. Can he keep it? Oh, there's going to be contact there with the Seawolf car. Luckily, not too much, actually. But that is the risk that he does not need to be taking. He's 30 seconds in the lead and getting involved in other people's fights and things like that. But he does not need to be taking such risks with only 30 minutes to go in the race. Does not need to give away this race victory at all.
Hey, basically doesn't need to pull a Senna this early in the race. Oh, a near contact between Johnson and Ricci.
Yeah, Strana almost went at the back of Johnson as well, as they're sandwiched in between these threes. But Johnson doing enough to keep Strana at bay. Oh, is Strana going to be able to attempt something into turn 1? Probably not with these prototypes around them. But he's having a look anyway, maybe using the P3 as an extra bit of slip boost. He's all over the place looking for a spot to try and stick one on Johnson, but Johnson survives another day into that turn 1.
And Ricky lost about a second or so there to David on this last lap. Now, we actually have to give a bit of a shout out to David Young. He's been at the front of the race for pretty much all of it. He is just having a nice solid afternoon there in P2. Going to get some nice points. 25 points to be exact for P2 in the Bezelia car at the moment.
And something to be very noticeable to notice between the battle of Strawn and Johnson is that bit by bit, there's a Mentis Recus, lurking in the background. 2 seconds lost to both drivers that Recus just took away on the previous lap.
I do wonder if they are going to come, because it seems that Johnson has dropped well off the back of a reseat. We've now got Torres coming past 4th position, even though they are different classes, and that's going to be really awkward. Going to be some contact. Johnson's going to have to go all over the grass to avoid it. Oh, please rejoin safely. Yes, trying to manage just to avoid it. So yeah, Torres not doing the best job of overtaking there. Although yeah, that is for position though, so no sort of blue flags or anything of the like for that. This is just clean race. Well, trying to be clean racing between them. But situations like this can always ruin or entice a battle.
And now just looking over here, Sean just did a 146.8, whereas Mr. Mantis Rakis right now just did a 144.1. So it's more than 2 seconds lost once again for the driver of Strong, for the Swedish driver.
I do wonder if he's actually going to catch them up, because we can now see him right in the back.
He's gonna.
Yeah, we can see him right in the back. He is quite far behind still, though. He's about 6 seconds behind at the moment, I believe. Although the live timing gaps do fluctuate quite a lot, so I'm not sure exactly. Now Torres has just gone off in front of James Johnson, so unfortunately you can see why this is a fight for position, and Johnson does want to get involved in this. He just wants to do his pace and try and keep Eric Strana behind. Seems like Pacho has managed to pull away a bit now.
Strana went a bit too deep into that little chicane at the end of the back straight, so that's given Johnson another little bit of a reprieve. But it's going to be touch and go with the amount of rubber they've got left on their tyres at the end of this race. So we've got probably just over 20 minutes or 25 minutes remaining, something like that.
Yeah, I believe Johnson's tyres are going to be looking at the pace that he has been doing, although the last lap wasn't quite as bad, but Rekka's still caught by over a second again.
45.6 with JJ on that last lap. We've had a crash from one of the LMP3s by the looks of things. Who was that?
I'm just trying to look down the order. Can't quite see.
Well, Torres off.
Yeah, I think it's Jeffrey Backer. He's going really, really slowly. He's obviously got some suspension damage, so let's go back and see what happened to him. He's off the track on the grass. So where has he gone off? Oh! He had a big crash with Rick Van Earl on the back straight. They were side by side. Rick just about leaving a car's width, but I don't know why that got so tight. I think it's because Rick was trying to get the slipstream, maybe. A bit of contact was made, and that sent Backer right off into the concrete wall. Loads of damage for him. And he is in for a pit stop. Currently P11, but that might be quite a pit stop, so he might lose a couple of positions.
Alright, so my predictions real quick, sorry, Aiden, but Strawn has about two or three more laps to make that move on Johnson. Otherwise, Rex is going to be behind them both, and here he comes.
Strana's done it now. Into turn 1 at the inside, so that's going to...
And Rekus another second. Another second for Mantis Rekus. Still got a few seconds to go, but if he can do a second a lap, he will definitely catch up to the back of Johnson by the end of this race. And yeah, I think Johnson's tyres are going to be done. He's losing the most time out of these drivers that we're following at the moment. So I don't believe he's going to be able to keep that pace towards the last few minutes of this race, but we'll have to see how that works out.
So would it be worth him pitting then?
Oh.
Having fresh tyres to try and obliterate any gaps from others that are on worn tyres? I don't know.
If he can get to the end, then he'll probably be okay, because the gap behind Rekus is quite big to Brambilla. So I would say he's still pretty much confirmed at least P4 for James Johnson, depending on how much his tyres go off, obviously. If he starts losing like 3 seconds a lap, then he's got no chance.
I'm just looking at the live timing here, and it's showing that Mike McGear is actually running mediums, which is something I've never seen before.
Yeah, he's the only person on the whole field, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he likes them better. Maybe, not sure.
I mean, obviously in FSR or something like that, where they have to use 2 different compounds, yeah, you would see that. But in the VLMC and the VEC, it's very, very rare you'll see anybody on anything other than the softs.
Yeah, I mean, even Johnson double stinting has gone for the softs, because he obviously feels that is a better strategy than double stinting the mediums, despite the little bit of a drop off that we've seen for him personally. So where is Rekus now? Last lap, 1.3 seconds to James Johnson. He is coming. Rekus is coming. Can he this pace up? We will have to find out. But he was actually, yeah, quickest on track, I believe.
Yeah, but he just lost a chunk of time because of Lorenzo Duty's overtaking him.
Alex Jones in the pit lane. I think it's just a
Johnson
fuel
is
stop.
getting hassled now by the black car that we were talking about, although I think they've done a driver swap. Yeah, Piccoli is in the car now. Johnny Piccoli in 26th overall. He's trying to get past Johnson here. Such is the lack of speed of Johnson and Piccoli. They must have made a pit stop recently. To do a driver swap, yeah, about 5 laps ago. And Bakker is still in the pit lane smoking now, so I think his engine might expire.
Real quick, let me butcher that name. Is Johnny Piccolo?
Yeah. Johnny Piccolo. But Piccolo's having a go at Strana as well, so the fresher tyres on that car definitely helping him there.
Yeah, he's probably got less, if they've only just pit as well, he's probably got less fuel, so about 20-something minutes of fuel with brand new tyres is going to be very good for him indeed, as they got past. And they've now got Torres again coming behind Strana, so Torres has been a little thorn in their tail, or whatever the saying is.
Thorn in the side.
For the last few laps, because he's still next to them despite being in a LMP3, and they've now got Jatutis in 8th position coming past Johnson as well, up the sort of back straight that isn't really a straight.
Oh, the memes in our broadcast booth chat, Jesus.
Yeah, but has Bakker actually turned his engine off?
Oh, Johnson's hit the back of Torres now again.
No.
Sorry. Fortunately, not too bad, but just gave him a little tap. And God, you can see him now. Rekus is coming for James Johnson, who has dropped off the back of Strana with these LMP3s getting involved as well. So Rekus is coming for this podium position, despite having that drive-through penalty. This has actually been pretty good because Johnson didn't have a penalty. Has been running his own race. Rekus has made a stop for tyres when Johnson didn't, and had a penalty, and he's coming up here for a podium position. So his pace has been pretty good in that number 73 Rookie Monsters car. And now Torres has got past Strana for position, but now Torres is getting overtaken by your second place man David Junt into turn number 1. Yeah, John, as what it said earlier, just having a nice calm day there in second place. As behind him, Simon Marshall is being caught slowly by Luca Burke, but nothing too bad at the moment.
Just trying to see what Mantus's lap times are in relation to Johnson now that there's a bit of clean air between them. So Johnson last lap was a 46.6, and for Mantus was a 44.4. Oh dear.
2 seconds, basically.
That's yeah, he's putting the hammer down to catch up here. He knows that podium's on.
Yeah, Rekus has been like 44s, 43s for quite a while now, whereas Johnson's been in, well, yeah, 45s or so. So the pace is really there for Rekus.
Johnson's back up the back of Strana.
Yeah.
I think Rekus
He's
is
gonna
going to
use
get
the
both of them.
draft. So real quick, you said, "Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear." I challenge you to do that with a posh accent.
What? Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Is Aiden not posh already?
Hey, it's kind of like 60% posh.
I'm from the Midlands. There's nothing posh about here. Cameron's posher than I am. He's from the south.
Oh,
From the south, yes, okay.
Has the Scottish flag on his car and talks with this weird accent. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, Neil calls me a fake,
Fake
unfortunately. Oh, McGear's off in turn number 1.
no wing, no wing.
Sorry, not turn number 1. Turn number 12, I believe, actually.
Oh, David Young has no wing.
Oh, yes!
Yeah.
Place man, David John. Why is it always you talk about them and then half a lap later they crash? Just saying that David John was doing a nice job in P2, and it's at the beginning of the lap as well. He's gone off a turn 1 all on his own.
Oh, Lord.
Is Sean going to call a code 80? Probably not.
God, yeah, he just went off
There
on
you
his
go,
own.
Simon. There you go, Simon to P2.
Oh, he's crashed
no,
again.
He's gone. Oh, that's it. He's done.
That's
Yeah.
a death.
And we'll
That's
come to
it.
code 80 in 10
There we
seconds.
go.
Oh, code 80. So,
This is going to
will
help
someone
JJ.
5,
such as JJ
4,
take this
3,
chance? Well, having said
2,
that,
1.
It's-
Code 80 in 4.
it's not going to help him now because look how Rekus is right behind him.
Hello
But
there.
then, if they take their stop for tyres now, yes, it's too late in the game. I think it is just past that point where they're not going to have enough time to make it up, even with a code 80 pit stop.
So, all right, real quick. How much time do you lose just switching tires?
Well, you would lose
Just
about
tires.
30 seconds at least.
it's about 30 something seconds just for the tyre stop, plus the 20 seconds to go through the pit lane.
So a minute, really.
But
Yeah, F for James.
yeah, it's probably a little bit too late in the game. But someone,
But if Strana
Who-
hits,
yeah, I just don't think they will. It's tempting, but I just don't think they got enough laps to make it up, even with being a second or two quicker. I think it's just a little bit too much. But a couple of people have really benefited from this. So Mantis Rekus is now right on the back of James Johnson, so he is looking at a podium position right in front of him, or even getting up to P2, which would be really good for him. But also in the LMP3, literally just behind them on track, Simon Marshall in P2, and then Luca Burke, who's had all sorts of
JJ's
issues.
pitting.
Okay, we'll have to
Is
see
he
where
gonna go for the
comes out.
fixed strat? He's not gonna go for the fixed strat.
I mean, he was going to be P4 anyway.
yeah.
So if he can get out in front of Brambilla, which he obviously will, then this is going to be at least a potential. Oh, he's missed the pit
overshot
box.
the box.
Lost a couple of bits there, a couple of seconds there. But if he can do this and still get out at a decent distance to Brambilla, he should be fine. But yeah,
He's got
I think
15 minutes to do it though.
yeah, I mean, he's already there. He's already been sat for 20 seconds. And as David Jump comes in, so the 80 will be coming to an end very shortly.
Come back to green in
Brambilla
10
gonna
seconds.
take-
James
as
get
well.
out. And James get out. That
He
is
won't.
the important.
Or maybe
5, 4,
It's going to be just
3,
perfect for James Johnson, I
2,
think.
1, green flag.
Yeah, literally,
Oh,
as he went
green
past
flag
the
on the line.
as he went past the pit limiter line, although he's going to be accelerating.
Oh, he's just hit. He's just hit one of the
Is that
speed bump
Binsbergen?
cars.
Binsbergen. That okay, we have to grab replay of that, but this might be a bit of a mistake from James Johnson. We have to see how it works out, but we are back racing. And yeah, I think it was actually Binsbergen braking really early actually into turn 1, it looks like.
Okay.
Having said that.
I think we might have missed it, but was Burke in P2 already?
No, he was just behind Simon Marshall, so he must have
ninth.
got him on the restart. And there's another slow car, there's a satellite car, I believe it is, on turn 11. The outside of turn 11, I should say. And yeah, Luca Burke has made his way past Simon Marshall, so second place for Luca Burke, despite all these issues he's had in today's race. But Simon Marshall still on a podium position right now. That could be 2 podiums in a row. And they've got a decent gap to Philip Arcus as well. And Rekkers dropped off quite a bit from Strana, actually. So I think Rekkers didn't have the best restart.
Just trying to see what the gap is between them. So James Johnson.
He's got
6.1 seconds behind.
Yeah, he's got
Mantis.
14 minutes to get, well, 13 minutes now to catch back up. I think it's going to be a little bit too far for James Johnson, but either way, he was probably going to be 4th position. So he might as well do some quali laps now and see what he can do. And Simon Marshall's back on the back. Yeah, he's right on the back of Burke, so he's not giving up this P2.
But I think he's overcooking the tires way too much for my taste. I think he's just driving so aggressively. He's overcooking those tires unnecessarily. You want to save the extra amount of grip so you can have that advantage if you actually get into a draft battle. Oh, this is so good for Marshall right now. Piccolo just unintentionally blocking Burke, and he's looking left and right, and he cannot do anything about it.
Marshall's going to get up the inside as well of turn 12, so this is going to be nice, good slipstream. Oh, I think
wow.
Burke might have chosen the wrong side there because he's gone on the grass. It's going to lose him even more momentum. So can Marshall get alongside into turn 13 and 14? Not quite on this occasion, unless he's going to do it on the brakes. That would be a little bit risky. We've already seen Marshall go off there as well.
Yeah, good move on Marshall. Be patient, just work the draft, stay within the draft range and attack range now on the main straight, so you can go into turn 1 without having a car or someone else to give you problems.
So I'm looking at the lap times between Johnson and Strana here, as Strana goes over the line and does a 44.9. So
yeah, Johnson's getting held up here though by a satellite, so unfortunately that was a bit lost.
Mantis on Strana made a contact into turn 1. He's dropped off a little bit behind Strana there, so this one's going to carry on for a bit longer, I think.
And that's only going to help Johnson if they are losing each other time.
43.4.
And that was being held up by a satellite as well. So he's got some good pace in that car, but does he have enough time to catch up?
3 seconds a lap. Maybe.
That's only if they can keep that going though. Although they're going to lose
true.
more time on this lap because they had the contact in turn 1. So this will be another decent lap for Johnson. But yeah, he really is quite far behind though.
It's going to be tense. Stay tuned. This is going to be good.
Marshall though has dropped off the back of Burke, unfortunately, in the LMP3 battle. So maybe Luca Burke will have enough to keep on to that second position.
When did we lose Gianluca Di Matteo? As he's
about couple of laps ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
2 or 3 laps ago.
Too busy watching the puff at the podium. But David Junt is in the pit lane. He's still missing his rear wing.
Well, he had multiple hits at the barrier, didn't he?
I covered myself there.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah, you could say he needs a band-aid on all parts of the car.
He's just leaving now, actually, as it so happens.
Oh, a few band-aids here, a few Kool-Aids there, you know, a few operator surgeries over here and over there. Now you're back on the track.
Anything
But the
can be
problem
fixed if you
is
have
you're
to
back
take.
3 laps behind.
Yeah, it was a pretty. Oh my God, 42.6 for James Johnson, 2.5 seconds quicker than Mantis Wreckers on this lap again.
Fresh tyres, low fuel. He can bang it qualifying laps to the end.
But he is. I'm still worried that he is just a bit too far behind, because Wreckers is coming out of turn 6, whereas Johnson is only coming into turn 4 now. So, yeah, possibly a little bit too far, but he's at least going to get close.
Right, I'm just trying to see where it is. See, because David Yunt is in between Johnson and Rekus, it's not showing much of a gap, but it's probably about 6 seconds, 7 seconds. So, at the rate he's going, he will catch up.
Zone in the pits. Did he get a drive-through?
It appears that way. You can pick up cut tracks going through the S's if you take too much of the inside curb.
And Sanzano just on now, just Tucci's also right not so far, about a second behind. Meanwhile, Rek has finally made a move on Strawn and stuck it in.
So Strana's just coming onto the start-finish straight. Johnson is just coming through the final corner. So this is, yeah, it's definitely hammer time for JJ right now.
Yeah, Rekus has done a really good job there to get back up to P2, because he was quite a way behind these drivers. But he's been keeping this pace going in the second stint pretty well indeed. And P2 will be a good reward for that. It's probably a little bit too far to get a reseat, to be honest, but P2 is still a very good result indeed.
JJ's still lapping 3 seconds a lap faster
Then Strawn?
Yeah. Yeah, he's lapping 3 seconds a lap faster than Strana, so yeah, this is definitely going to get tasty as behind Johnson. I think it was Philip Arcos bumping with a bit of lap traffic there.
Yeah, Philip Arcos in 4th place, but way too far behind Simon Marshall, who seems like can't quite keep up with Burke. I think that is going to be a P3 for Simon Marshall today. And we just need to mention Michaela Ricky, 54 seconds in the lead.
Wow.
After 67 laps. So that is like 7-8 tenths a lap quicker average. That is quite something for Michaela Ricky, especially considering where that car, well, I say where that car is in the championship. They're still in 4th place, which is good. Only 1 race victory so far. The rest have all been around sort of 5th, 6th, 7th position. So it's still a little bit unusual for them to be this high up, but he's obviously done a really good job here at this track. He's only got 5.5 minutes to finish this race without any mistakes.
And a drive through to boot.
Ah, yes, he did. But so did apprentices like Burke, and I think Philip Arcus as well. Because there's quite a few, which kind of negates the disadvantage of having one, actually, if everyone gets a drive through. Hopefully for Le Mans in I think it's 3 or 4 weeks' time, hopefully there'll be no penalties there. So hopefully we can have a nice 4-hour race. We're going to settle the championship there. Though Luca Burke, 2nd place, 25 minutes. He's got a 5 laps. He's going to be 30 minutes ahead, which means Luca Di Melio is going to need to basically win the race and hope that Burke isn't higher than about 10th position. So that's going to be a little bit difficult for Di Melio, but it's still possible in Le Mans.
still watching the gap between JJ and Strana here, because the gap's 7.3 seconds, so yeah, this ain't happening, I don't think.
Yeah, it's just a little bit too far, unfortunately. He's got the pace.
Unless Strana makes a mistake on those old tyres.
And Young's back on the pits again.
That's the only way that JJ's going to catch it.
I would assume a stop-go penalty for something. Not sure what, but stop-go penalty I would assume for David Junt.
What would you get a stop-go penalty for? That's not what it's been issued by the game by the looks of things, because otherwise it would pop up in the in-game chat that Sean would have assigned that. So persistent corner cutting, I'm thinking.
Yeah,
Or
you'd have
something
to
that effect.
do a big cut to get a stop-go though. So yeah, that's a bit of a weird one. And unfortunately, yeah, David Junt throwing away a P2 finish here at VIR as we head into the final few minutes.
Strana almost overcooked it going into the into that left-hander before the oak tree, very wide onto the grass.
Yeah, but that gap's still large enough, so Strawn might be able to be to get the P3 at the end of the day, unless he, as you said, cooks a turn. Even if James actually takes like 2-3 seconds away.
I'm just going to check in with the old live timing here. That Johnson's now 5.5 seconds behind, so he is definitely taking massive chunks out of that lead. But he's got 3 minutes to do it, and I don't think it's possible.
Again, if he cooks it up,
If he overcooks it, then,
if
yeah,
Strawn
maybe.
cooks it, yeah, it is possible. But if he doesn't cook it, if you just keep the car on track, I gotta say that he might be able to come under the final lap, but then it has to be like you gotta have one shot or one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted. You know, one moment. Would you capture? You just let it slip.
The M&M lyric.
Yeah, I was gonna say I recognise that from somewhere.
But half a second between Luca Burke and Simon Marshall for second and third. That's so it looks like Marshall's going to try and come back at Luca in these last 2 minutes of the race. So we've probably got what, maybe 2 laps left of this now. So yeah, definitely we're definitely getting like a good ending cooked up to this. So we've got the battle for second and third, and we've also got the battle for the podium happening in both classes, as it so happens.
It's good to see they're still battling, even though
who's
we're
that
coming
that's
to
gone
the
off
last
the final
couple.
Is that a GT3? Yeah, just putting it on the grass in a straight line for no reason. So they've cleared that. It's one of the satellites that's been.
Right, I think it's the satellite that's just ahead of Simon Marshall, which has broken up that battle, unfortunately, for third position as we're coming into basically the final minute of the race. So this could be the final lap for Michaela Ricky as another satellite car goes off. I have to see if it drops to 0 just before he gets to the finish line. Otherwise, we've got one more lap left. But he is certainly in the class of the field today, as he's leading by 55 seconds after 2 hours of racing. And will we get another lap? We'll just have to find out. I think we will.
Yeah, he's just crossed the line.
So we've got another lap of racing. And that is Philip Parkos in 4th position. So he is going to lap everyone to 4th position. Only the podium on the lead lap after 2 hours, which is quite something, it has to be said, as Philip Parkos gets out the way nicely for him. This has been a pretty good masterclass by Michaela Ricky, it has to be said. And to be honest, his teammate in... and there we go, time is up, so this is the final lap, but his teammate, Lorenzo Risi, in the GT3 field as well, has done a very good job. So the Waveframe Esports cars are looking like they're going to get a double victory here in both classes at VIR.
Strana now just has to drive for the remainder of this lap. Oh no, Max has gone wide at the oak tree. So Strana and Rekus are going to have a drag race up towards the straight. headed towards, I think it's turn 12. Well, a bit of contact in a straight line there, but Strana, for the moment, is past Rekus.
Rex is going to go quite deep on the brakes, I would assume,
Oh,
because
no,
they've only got one more lap after this. Oh, are they going to give each
no.
other room, though, in the next corner, which they have, because otherwise
Yeah, they
Rex
have
might
done.
get spun. Oh, Astrada's keeping it there. This is good racing, and he's going to have the inside line, and Rex is going to have to back out of that. And these guys have got one lap left. They are ahead of your race leader, Michaela Ricky, who's coming around the final corner to take victory at the 2 hours of Virginia. So congratulations to him, doing a really good race as he wins by quite some margin.
Rekus on the outside going in towards turn 1, late on the brakes. Can he try and get into such a position? Well, they're still bumping and barging, almost off the track for Rekus there, but Strana has taken second place back from the Rookie Monsters car there as they come through.
And now Johnson's already on the back bumper. Oh, and he nearly got screwed by Piccolo.
Oh, Piccolo goes for a little swell as we head on to the final lap.
It's going to be do or die at the end of the back straight, I think, for Rekus here.
The question is this going to break?
It's going to be a game of chicken on the brakes, isn't it?
It's something like it. It's not going to be on the oak tree, but it certainly is going to be on the corkscrew.
And just to let you know, Simon Marshall is coming across line to finish second in LMP3 ahead of Luca Burke.
JJ's right up the back of this group now as they come down the back straight past the clubhouse and the clubhouse pit lane. What is Mantis going to try? He's going to try the inside line into this little chicane at the end. He's managed to out-drag Strana.
Strana's going to outbrake. There he goes.
Oh, bit of a wobbly. JJ's probably licking his lips that he's managed to get there towards the end, but I don't. It's going to be a photo finish, I think, for Johnson because he's got the grip. Going through the final corner. Johnson's going to try and stick it up the inside of the final corner. Johnson's going to try and out-drag him. Johnson's managed to get the podium. Wow.
That's a brilliant move. He managed to actually make that work after making the extra pit stop with the code 80. So that is a really good job.
That's fantastic
for him. With Lorenzo Risi taking victory from Mantis Rekus by about 9 seconds in the end. But then, as you say, it was James Johnson who got that move in the final corner by Strana. And I think Strana is going to be quite disappointed with that in the end, actually. At one point, he could have got second, but in the end, he ended up with 4th position. So staying out on those older tyres didn't work. But James Johnson managed to make it work there for 3rd position. But as for the 2 winners, it was the day for Waveframe Esports winning both classes.
Yeah, and I'm just looking over here at something that I think with this place from 2nd place from Luca Berg, actually 3rd place from Luca, he's very close to seal the deal in the championship. Basically has one hand in the championship. Because if you look at the competition, everybody else that he was competing against that competition didn't finish well.
Yeah, we still got the 4 hours of Le Mans to come, and yeah, it looks like Luca Burke is going to be needing not he's going to have a fairly comfortable time. Basically, yeah, he's going to have a fairly comfortable time, and that's assuming that someone like D'Amelio wins the race as well. And in the GT3 field, that was probably going to be about 9 points. So it's not going to be too difficult for Arisi to win either. But again, if James Johnson can come out in the number 62 and take victory in Le Mans, that is going to put the door open for himself. So we'll have to wait and see what happens in the 4 hours of Le Mans. Let's see if anyone gets a teammate or if they will try and do it as one driver. And there's still both the championships to decide in Le Mans as well in about 3 or 4 weeks' time.
What a race, especially that ending.
Well done, James. Eric, tried to go for a good defense, but I think he just ran way too wide at the last turn. And that's why I allowed James. He's just, kind of snuck it in, just used the the extra amount of rubber, that extra grip, so you can stick it in on the inside on the last turn on the right hander, the kink, and that's what allowed him to actually have a better exit. Because if Strond actually made the same thing, just block that inside line, there was a good chance that Strond could have actually ended in third.
Very easy to go wide on the exit of that final corner as well. So probably just the older tyres plus the pressure of trying to get back at Mantis and then seeing Johnson.
Attention grid, all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
Great finish to a brilliant race. Can't wait for the VEC here next time out.
Yeah, so we've got the VEC at this track in, I believe it's 2 weeks' time on the 4th of April. And then a couple of weeks after that, on the 18th of April, we will have the final race of the Virtual Le Mans Cup at Le Mans. So there's a couple of races to look forward to, and we've still got the championships to be decided in all of those series and classes and divisions. So still plenty to play for as we come towards the end of the season here at SimRacing.Club. But until next time, we thank you for watching, and we will see you in a couple of weeks for the VEC.